Hello everyone, weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the Caribbean. It is Saturday evening, August 5, 2023. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video, share it, subscribe and tap notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I post a brand new video. Feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section letting me know what the has been like in your year recently. Also, feel free to ask any other related question that you might have about the future of weather in your specific area. I respond to all comments and I really live for this stuff. Alright, so let us take a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening. We can see that we have numerous tropical waves across the main development region and one tropical wave right here across the central Caribbean. And all of these tropical waves are pushing from east to west, all courtesy of that ridge of high pressure that's across the northern Atlantic. If we actually take a look at the visible satellite images before the sun went down, we can see that we have those clouds associated with the tropical waves stretching all the way from Africa and pushing their way westward toward the Caribbean, all courtesy of that easterly flow of wind brought about by that high pressure ridge. We'll be talking more about the Caribbean weather later on. Let's focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Saturday. It was stated in yesterday's video that we would have received some amount of rainfall across sections of some central and western parishes in Jamaica. And with the upper level winds coming in from the southeast, we would have more of the overcast skies across sections of some northern parishes in Jamaica. And what ended up happening? As early as 2:16 p.m. on Saturday afternoon, we saw those clouds building across where sections of some central and western parishes in Jamaica, with some amount of overcast skies, especially across sections of some northern parishes. So at that time, we had that cloud cover across sections of St. Anne, Trelawney, St. James, and Hanover as well. And we even have confirmation from our commenters on our Twitter page confirming this rainfall. Cardi D stating it rained in Negril every time I come here. It rained. Send it to Portmore now. And with John Deese stating the dark cloud them are dwelling at the place Rose Hall St. James. And then we had PG876 stating rainfall, yes. And then a couple hours later, another post was made at 4:35 p.m., highlighting the infrared satellite images showing some amount of afternoon thunderstorms. You know, the sparkling white dots represent those lightning flashes, if not lightning strikes, and the high cold cloud tops are represented by those colorful clouds, the greens, the yellows, the oranges, and the reds that represent some amount of deep conviction. So we did indeed see that afternoon conviction across sections of St. Anne, Trelawney, St. James, Hanover, Westmoreland, sections of St. Elizabeth, and northern Manchester as well. Even sections of northern St. Catherine got in on some of that afternoon thunderstorm. And if we actually take a look at the visible satellite image from midday today to around this time, we saw that we had those low level clouds building and pushing their way westward, and then that daytime heating contributed to them becoming thunder clouds or cumulonimbus clouds. And we see the colors better on the latest infrared satellite images that show that majority of these clouds have dissipated at the recording hour, with most of them off the west coast of the island at this time. Not so much activity happening across the eastern parishes of Jamaica, but that could change for tomorrow. If you actually take a look at the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website showing the accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours across Jamaica, we can see that yes, we indeed had some amount of rainfall across sections of some eastern parishes this morning. Then we saw that afternoon convection across sections of some central and western parishes. This map is not 100% accurate with the amount, not to mention the where the rain fell, but it does paint a picture that yes, we indeed had some amount of rainfall across the island for today. And if we actually take a look at temperatures right now, we can say we have 82 degrees Fahrenheit in Montego Bay, that's about 27.7 degrees Celsius, and 84 degrees Fahrenheit in Kingston, that's about 28 degrees Celsius. And as usual, as the night progresses, these temperatures should be getting lower. If we take a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, you can see Jamaica embedded in some yellows, oranges, and some yellows and orange shades that represent up to 2 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures for Sunday, and we see that both the Euro and the GFS malls are showing the same thing for 1 p.m. on Sunday. And we know that when they're showing the same thing like this, the chance of it actually happening are much higher. We know that the average temperatures for the month of August is about 91 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about the equivalent of 32 degrees Celsius. So if we should be receiving any above normal temperatures for tomorrow, they should be anywhere from 32 to 34 degrees Celsius at most. If we actually take a look at the dry air map, we can see that yes, we do indeed have some amount of dry air across the South Central Caribbean, sections of the Northeastern Caribbean, sections of Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, sections of the Windward Islands, with the most amount of dry air right there across the northern main development region, and the waters right there to the northwest of Africa as indicated by those reds and whites within those reds. And we can see it being represented best by the key at the bottom. If we actually take a look, the Saharan dust forecast. This is 2 p.m. on a Sunday, and we do indeed see some amount of Saharan dust in the forecast for especially the Leeward Islands, so anywhere from Puerto Rico eastward, the US and British Virgin Islands, Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda, Guadeloupe, Dominica, sections of Martinique, sections of St. Vincent, if not St. Lucia, and we can see some slight Saharan dust in the forecast for Jamaica and Haiti, as well as indicated by those lighter shades of brown. If we take a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, we can see that Jamaica is surrounded by 1.5-meter wave height or less, and that's due to the fact that we're still going to be receiving some weak winds, with the most intense winds up to 20 knot winds, especially on the south coast of the island. However, we can see that we have some amount of weak winds across sections of some central and western parishes. So the chances of the same thing happening, like what happened today with the afternoon convection across sections of western Jamaica, there's a chance that this might happen because wherever we have those weakest winds, that's usually where we have that cumulus cloud piling up after the daytime heating takes place, and then, becoming thunderclouds or cumulonimbus clouds as usual. So Western Jamaica definitely in for some amount of rainfall for tomorrow. However, we can also see that the winds are going to be coming in from the east, so any cloud cover that comes off of the waters of the Caribbean and pushes into the eastern portion of the island could affect sections of maybe St. Thomas, Portland, and hopefully spilling into sections of Kingston and St. Andrew, maybe even sections of Portmore, especially with some amount of overcast skies in the morning hours. And we say this especially because the wind shear will be coming in from the east for tomorrow. So any rainfall or thunderclouds coming in across eastern Jamaica for tomorrow will be pushed off towards the west. And if we actually take a look at the precipitation forecast for tomorrow, we can see some amount of blues that represent rainfall across sections of some eastern parishes in Jamaica. So sections of St. Thomas, Portland. What time is this? This is 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 2 a.m. Jamaica time. And if we even have a look at the afternoon hours, we can see some blues that represent rainfall on the GFS more across sections of some western parishes in Jamaica that looks to be St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, sections of southwestern Trelawney. But the Euro is a bit more robust with the weir. We do see some blues across western parishes in terms of the rainfall. That's where the consensus is. That's where the agreement is. But the Euro is showing some portion of central Jamaica also getting in on some rainfall. But that's not that believable because we don't see the GFS showing the same thing. We know that the chances are higher if we actually see both of them showing the same thing for the same time. And this is 3 p.m. Jamaica time for both maps. So there's definitely going to be some amount of rainfall in store for sections of some western parishes. Not so sure about that central parishes like what the Euro is showing. Either way, we're definitely going to be getting in on some amount of rainfall for tomorrow. It's good to see that both the Euro and the GFS are in agreement that yes, we have some amount of rainfall to receive across eastern Jamaica for tomorrow. Then western Jamaica during the afternoon. So definitely some rainfall in store for the island. If you actually take a look at the average rainfall for the year, we usually receive almost 100 millimeters of rainfall in Kingston, almost something similar in Montego Bay when we enter the month of August. So it's gonna be on the increase as we go along and enter into the season of autumn. So more rainfall in store, and hopefully the wettest month of the year, October in Jamaica, is gracious for us all. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let's focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So we can see that we have a lot of cloud cover, showers, and thunderstorms across sections of Colombia, sections of Panama as usual, sections of Venezuela. Not so much across sections of French Guyana, Suriname, or Guyana, but we do see some rainfall coming into sections of the Leeward Islands, maybe Antigua, Barbuda, St. Kitts, sections of St. Bart's. You can also see that afternoon convection across sections of Jamaica for today, sections of Cuba, sections of Florida, and the Bahamas as well. And if we actually take a look at the Doppler radar images, across the northeastern Caribbean for today, we can see that yes, we indeed had a lot of rainfall across sections of Antigua and Barbuda, sections of St. Martin, sections of Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, maybe northern Martinique, sections of the US and British Virgin Islands, sections of Puerto Rico, especially western Puerto Rico, right there where we see those yellows and those reds right there. They definitely had some amount of deep convection in the afternoon. If we actually take a look at the Barbados radar, not so much happening across Barbados at this time, but we do see some amount of isolated passing shower to the north of the island and east of the island. So maybe they might get a sprinkle or two later on tonight. We can see some of that rainfall into portions of Trinidad and Tobago, section of Grenada, section of St. Vincent. And if we take a look at the wider view of Doppler radar images, we can see some amount of rainfall across sections of Cuba, sections of the Yucatan Peninsula, sections of the waters to the north of the ABC Islands right there. And if we actually take a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, we can see above normal temperatures stretching all the way from the eastern Caribbean into the Gulf of Mexico, with the most above normal temperatures right there across sections of the United States as indicated by those reds. As it relates to the Saharan dust forecast, you can see that 2 p.m. on Sunday shows that we are having some amount of Saharan dust, especially across the northeastern Caribbean, for anywhere from Puerto Rico eastward, the US and British Virgin Islands, sections of Antigua and Barbuda, Anguilla, sections of Guadeloupe, Martinique, St. Lucia, sections of Barbados might get in on some of that as well. Only some light shades into portions of the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, eastern Cuba, Haiti, section of Jamaica, and the ABC Islands as well. As relates to the wave forecast, we can see that we have the most robust wave forecast as indicated by those purples to the north of Panama, to the north of Colombia, and to the waters to the northeast of the Eastern Caribbean. And that's due to the fact that the strongest winds will be in those spots as indicated by those yellow shades right there to the north of Colombia and to the northeast of the Caribbean. And we know those yellow shades are indicative of at least 25 knot winds. And we do see the same thing on the GFS mall as what we see on the Euro mall. I know that when they're both showing the same thing, the chance of it actually happening are much higher. And everywhere else, experiencing greens that represent up to 20 knot winds. However, as it relates to the rain forecast, we can see that although we're expecting a lot of Saharan dust across the northeastern Caribbean tomorrow, there's still a lot of moisture in the air, which explains the rainfall that they're going to be receiving across the northeastern Caribbean for tomorrow. We can see rainfall anywhere from Puerto Rico eastward, so the US and British Virgin Islands, Guadeloupe, sections of Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, Barbados. Don't see much rainfall across Grenada, Trinidad, and Tobago, but we do see some amount of rainfall in forecast for sections of Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, sections of eastern Nicaragua, Honduras. Not so much in terms of rainfall across sections of Belize or Guatemala, but we do see some rainfall across sections of the Yucatan Peninsula, sections of Cuba, sections of the Bahamas, and Florida as well. And we know that when both maps from the Euro and the GFS are showing the same thing, the chance of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.